Hey guys, welcome back to another game from the 2018 European Club Cup. This time Mamedyarov is playing against Carlsen, and at the time of this game Carlsen only has a 4.3 point lead over Caruana in the live rating list. So this is going to be a crucial game for Carlsen. In this game Mamedyarov with the white pieces and Carlsen had black. So let's see how the game goes. Mamedyarov opens with d4, we have knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, and knight c3, so a queen's gambit decline position, and bishop b4 from Carlsen, so the Ragozin defense. We have c takes d5, e takes d5, bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, black castles, e3 from Mamedyarov, bishop to f5, queen to b3, hitting this bishop, so bishop takes c3, queen takes c3. Here b takes c3 is definitely playable. It gives white options of two central breaks in c4 and also e4. And also white has ideas of playing knight d2 and f3, and at some point striking with e4. So in addition to that, the queen also currently hits the pawn on b7. So after something like knight b to d7, well, white should develop with bishop to e2. He could take on b7, but that does give black some counterplay. After rook b8, if queen takes a7, then rook b2, black is very active in this position. He should have decent compensation. But anyway, after bishop takes c3, we have queen takes c3. Carlsen goes knight b to d7, we have bishop e2 and c6. So Carlsen has a very solid position with no real weaknesses. And here, with the pawn on b2, Mamedyarov has some ideas of starting a minority attack, with ideas like b4 and b5. Knight d2 from Mamedyarov, so preparing f3, and eventually e4. But here Carlsen plays knight to e4. And this is probably home preparation from Carlsen, as he played it rather quickly. This has previously been played by Lequang Liam against Vidit Gujarati, where white went bishop takes d8, and after knight takes c3, b takes c3, rook f takes d8. This is fine for both sides. But here Mamedyarov goes knight takes e4. We have queen takes h4, and here knight to d6, with a double attack on the bishop and the pawn on b7. So here a possible try for black is queen g5, looking at this pawn on g2, and if knight takes f5, then queen takes f5, and all is well for both sides. But here Carlsen played bishop g4, and this is probably still home preparation. So the idea is that if bishop takes g4, then after queen takes g4, hitting g2, and if white castles, then simply rook a to b8. And this knight doesn't have anywhere to go to. So here after bishop g4, another, let's say, white captures on b7. Then after bishop takes e2, king takes e2, rook a to b8. And this is a very dangerous position for white. If knight a5, then simply c5. Black is threatening to bust open the position. So here, if white plays, for example, knight c5, then simply knight takes c5, and you cannot take with the queen, otherwise the rook crashes 2 on b2. So you have to take with the pawn, and then simply rook f to e8, threatening to play d4. So very dangerous for white. So you're probably wondering why not here queen takes c6. Well, this is probably not a good move because black goes rook f to c8. And if queen takes d7, then rook to c2, and this is brutal for white. After king d1, queen takes f2, threatening mate on both e2 and d2, and white is simply lost. So here after bishop g4, Mamedyarov goes g3. Carlsen retreats the queen. We have bishop takes g4, queen takes d6, queen to a3 from Mamedyarov. Taking the queen is actually okay for black, But understandably, Carlsen didn't go for this, as he didn't want to allow white to have rooks on the b and c file. So here Carlsen drops back the queen. We have rook to c1, knight f6. This hits the bishop, and also with ideas of rerouting the knight to d6. So bishop f3 controlling the e4 square. a5 from Carlsen. So this stops any ideas of minority attacks with b4 and b5. And finally, Mamedyarov castles after 20 moves. So rook f to e8, here rook to c2, and queen to d7. So this position is very difficult for white to break through. And with ideal play, this should end in a draw. Rook c5 from Mamedyarov. Queen to d8, and b4. But Carlsen simply takes the pawn, and here rook a7, defending b7. So here taking on a2 would be a bad idea, because simply queen takes b7, and now c6 is a weakness and soon will fall. So here a4 from Mamedyarov, knight to e4, bishop takes e4, rook takes e4 and a5, gaining more space, but well, black can easily hold this position. Here rook to e7 gives more protection to b7 and also freeing up the rook on a7. Rook b1, rook to a6, queen to d2, and here rook d7 from Carlsen. So neither side can really make much progress. Rook to b3 and g6 from Carlsen, and it was in this position that both players agreed to a draw. Well, white will find it very difficult to ever win this pawn on b7. And if he does, then a5 will most probably fall. So after this game, Carlsen is still the world #1, but this time with a 4-point lead over Caruana. There are still 2 more rounds to go, so stay tuned for more action. If you found this video enjoyable, feel free to subscribe and hit the like button. Until then, see you in the next video.